welcome to the 1995 Embassy World Pool Championships. Players from Australia and South Africa, Hong Kong and Jamaica, 20 nations in all, came here in a bid to lift 8 ball's most prestigious title. The crown, though, will stay in Britain. All 4 semi-finalists are from England. There will, though, be a new champion, with Rob McKenna dethroned in the quarterfinals. Now then, stand by to be dazzled. We're about to meet the man who put the defending champion out, Daz Ward, making up in a big way for his defeat in the quarterfinals 12 months ago. His opponent is Lee Kendall, who lists Steve Davis and Chris Eubank as amongst his sporting idols. Of course, they're virtually impossible to beat in their respective sports, and Lee is proving to be precisely the same here in Chorley. A place in the final at stake then. Let's join our MC now, Alan Hughes.
And first, a young man, 25 years of age, who comes into our semi-final on the crest of a wave, having just captured the Embassy Professional Masters title, and his quarter-final match against the defending world champion was full of confidence and class. So far, he's defeated Thomas Kinsella, Emmett Toll, Eric Lacoste and Rob McKenna. Will you welcome, please, this very talented young man from Sheffield, dazzling Daz Ward. And his equally talented opponent, the number 3 seed, also had us on the edge of our seats in his quarterfinal, and this former United Kingdom Tour champion and European Masters title holder is a real force to be reckoned with, defeating Paul Heaney, Shamil Abdurrahman and Chris Littler on his way into our semi-final. Ranked the number 2 player in the United Kingdom, will you welcome, please, from Stoke-on-Trent, the pride of the Potteries, Lee Kendall. And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome the man in charge of the match, international referee Mike Perkins.
First frame, Daz Ward to break.
We're down to the nitty-gritty here now in this 1995 Embassy World Pool Championship. It's the dazzling Daz Ward, an English international, versus another English international, the UK number 2, Lee Kendall. And it's going to be a battle of 25-year-old Englishmen. No balls going in on the break there for Daz. So the first opportunity falls to the man from Stoke-on-Trent, Lee Kendall.
Yellow balls in play.
The sure-handed Lee Kendall has been an English international for 8 years now. So even though at 25, seemingly a babe, he's got tons of experience. There's his opponent, Daz Ward, and what an upset he provided us with in the quarterfinals, ousting the defending champion, Rob McKenna, 3-tourney favorite. Daz Ward sent him on his way back to Wales. And I'm very pleased to welcome, as I have done in the quarterfinals, a very intellectual man sat beside me. He knows these two players very well indeed. Just happens to be the English team manager. And Alan Bartlett, again, this is going to be a tough one to call.
Sure is, Jim. If Lee can take these balls away, he's going to be very pleased with himself. The second shot, when he disturbed the yellow ball away from the black, has opened everything up. And one good plant here should see him take a 1-0 lead.
really setting the tone very early in the semifinal. Both of these players, you can bet, put in their share of practice time this morning. And now just this long straight yellow as Daz looks on. And Lee Kendall with the black at his mercy, and with it, the opening frame. And what a terrific start for Lee Kendall. He's off to a flyer. He takes the first frame and leads Daz Ward by 1-0. And Lee Kendall really in fine form very early, showing us right off the break the way those balls were situated, that he was in the mood to take it and take it in one visit.
Second frame, Lee Kendall to break, leaving 1 frame to 0.
So it's Lee Kendall breaking off in frame 2. Going to be feeling pretty good getting that first frame under his belt. The early jitters having settled, hopefully, in his camp.
Open tape.
And again, Alan, very evident in the quarterfinals, not a lot of balls being made on the breaks.
That's true. That's the first 2 breaks. We haven't seen a ball potted. And sure enough, it cost Daz the first frame. Daz sneaked in the arena this morning at 7 o'clock to have a little knock on this table. But it didn't help him pot a ball in the first frame.
Excuse me, did you say 7 o'clock this morning?
The World Championship semi-final he was playing today, and no doubt sleeping wasn't that easy.
I have to say, just seeing Daz before they entered the auditorium here for the semifinal, he was pacing back and forth. Very difficult to settle in, as you said. The major, this is it. This is what they've all come to win. And no one more nervous probably than Daz's girlfriend right there.
If Daz can pick these last 4 reds out and level the match at 1-1, both players will have settled their nerves and we could be in for a very entertaining match. Lee's finished the first frame in just 1 visit. There's a chance for Daz to do similar. That's a very, very good shot. He'll be clipping the red ball into the centre pocket. Well, apparently that ball doesn't drop.
Well, certainly now, Daz with a good look at that long red. He'll just be dropping this one in, playing that red to the bottom corner as we look. This is the big shot in the second frame.
He took that shot a little quick. He was down onto the cue and played the shot very quickly. It was noticeable a little bit of tension in the cue arm there.
Definitely a bit of movement, Alan. And as we have said, early days and nerves always playing a part, especially in the early stages. What an opportunity for Lee Kendall here now.
Lee Kendall's been far from at his best in this championship to date. But he's managed to get through with 2 deciding frames. And sometimes, if you build yourself up over the week, it could be that he could come to form at the right time.
Excellent point, Alan. Saving your best to when it's needed most. And we all know what Lee Kendall is capable of.
He looks very confident.
and focused.
It's not difficult for Daz to hit this red ball off the side cushion, but he's in danger of taking the white in off into the corner, and even if he doesn't do that, he's going to clear the corner pocket for Lee Kendall and leave Lee the frame. And now Lee has an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead.
Even though just the one red of Daz Ward's remaining, he's far from favored in this one. When you've got all those balls on the table, your options are limitless. And should you run out of position, you can always lay a snooker on your opponent.
And what is even more important is that the red ball is tied up on the top cushion. Virtually, if Lee clears up the 4 yellows at the top of the table first, leaves the yellow at the bottom and rolls it and misses it over the corner, it's virtually like having 2 visits.
This is a best of 19 affair, our first semifinal. So it's the first player to reach that magical number of 10.
Lee will be attempting to leave himself absolutely straight on the last yellow. It makes it much easier to draw the white ball back to put the black ball into the opposite corner.
Sure potting and a cool nerve. That's been the ingredient so far for Lee Kendall.
As you said, Jim, sure potting. He's played so well for 2 frames. He doesn't look like missing a ball. And then the easiest of blacks rattles in the corner pocket.
Well, I haven't laid the commentator's curse on anyone yet, so the odds were it was going to catch up to me.
Daz will try and tickle this red ball in front of the white. And it looks good. How difficult a shot that was.
Well, you saw the situation there. It looks like he can just clip the left edge of the black. But really no value. He wants to try and play as safe as he can. Looks like he's going to just raise the butt and masse somewhat around the red. Excellent camera angle there.
Daz really needs to get this. He's had one long opportunity. This is the second one. He won't want to miss again. This will settle the nerves. And with some authority.
Great red from Daz. And this black to tie it up here. And so the first semifinal looks like it's going to be the close, tightly fisted encounter we expected. It's a best of 19 affair, and they're level, 1 frame apiece.
You're watching Sky Sports 2.
6th frame, Lee Kendall to break, trailing 4 frames to 1.
So first and foremost, for Lee Kendall now, he's got to stop the rot.
Open table.
We may see a 3-ball plant here, Jim. He'll be keen to get the yellow balls. and that may be his only option. He's made
Yellow
a...
balls in 5.
You wouldn't see a shot like that on a snooker table very often. A lot of space between all three of those yellows. And terrifically judged by Daz Ward. It's all happening for him right now.
I have it from good authority that the Canadians are the best makers of plants in the world, Jim.
Yeah, that's only because we run out of position so often we have to play them.
30 seconds remaining.
But certainly, as you said, Daz eager to get on the yellows. And that gives him a little more control of the table right now. What does Lee Kendall have to do, Alan, to try and claw his way back into this one, besides regroup and try and maintain a positive outlook?
He's a very experienced player, and as you saw there, he tried to cover the top bag, but at the moment nothing's working for him. Everything he seems to go for just keeps getting combated by Des Ward. At the moment, you must be a very worried young man.
And obviously signs of frustration starting to show on his face. It's easy to talk about
30 seconds remaining.
maintaining a positive outlook, but when things just aren't going your way, in such a vital match as this one is, much easier said than done. Daz again, looking very composed and confident. Was talking about the frustration level for Lee Kendall. This isn't like a bad day at the office where you can just go home and go back tomorrow. You lose this one, there is no tomorrow.
Well, Lee's just not playing well now. He's been fortunate that the yellow ball doesn't pot into that corner, and he's covered it. But he dropped on the red next to that, and he was going to put it over the corner bag, and in the end he's had to take on a more difficult one. This is a big frame. Each frame that goes away now is going to be so difficult for Lee to get back into this match. And Daz looks so composed.
30 seconds remaining.
And the real turning point, that simple black that Lee Kendall missed in frame 2.
Foul. 2 visits.
Well, I can only think that Daz might have clipped the black there in potting that yellow. Certainly not intended.
He may not go for clearance here. It's possible that he could get coverage at his top corner and develop the balls for the next turn. If he goes all out for the clearance, he could get himself into trouble.
Second visit.
Sure enough, Lee's put the red ball over the corner. He'll now develop his one bad ball.
Well, obviously Lee thought that red was in.
And we should get a good example of the tactics of the game here. We may well see Daz potting a yellow over the top corner and going up the table and try to put a yellow ball onto the red over the bag before he thinks that one goes on there.
Lots of interested spectators. John Exum there on the left, involved in the promotions of this event. And there, just sat to John Exum's right, is Peter Manzi, an embassy dignitary and the sponsors of this event.
Gives Lee a good chance to get back into this match. Daz didn't think through his last shot. If he could have got his yellow over that corner, he would now be favourite. Instead, Lee has a big chance. He's in a slight quandary because he's got the ball on the side cushion about 4 inches from the pocket. And if he leaves that ball to last, it'll be difficult to get back on the table for the black.
Obviously, an out-of-sorts Lee Kendall. He could barely believe it.
Does the yellow ball go past the red?
Well, there, we've got a good look at it, Alan. And it certainly looks as though it does.
Sure it does, Jim. And yet another frame that's going to really hurt Lee Kendall.
It's a lot more like Christmas time right now than summertime. Lee Kendall doing his best Santa Claus imitation.
Daz will be happy to pick up the presents all day. But it's no joke for Lee, Jim.
Well, that's the 5th frame in a row for the man from Sheffield, and he's in cruise control. Daz Ward leading Lee Kendall by 5 frames to 1.
8th frame. Lee Kendall to break, trailing 6 frames to 1.
And that really says it all. When Daz Ward comes to the table and breaks, he ends up with control and the ball falls in. Lee Kendall breaking, nothing drops.
Daz has potted balls for the break in his quarter-final match, in nearly every frame in his semi-final match.
No balls in play.
50% of the games he's guaranteed to take control. That 7 o'clock start this morning doesn't seem to have done him any harm.
Obviously doesn't think he's on Canadian time, but Lee Kendall, very meticulous in his preparation for big events too. I saw him on the practice table just prior to the start of this match, and I think he wishes he could go back to bed and start it all over again.
30 seconds remaining.
I was told it was the early bird that catches the worm, but at the moment it's the early bird that catches the fox.
Great balls to play.
Really, that is just the obvious sign that Daz Ward doesn't fear Lee Kendall at all right now. He's opening the balls up and saying, go ahead, don't miss.
Lee must make this clearance.
30
Cannot
seconds
afford to
remaining.
lose another frame. Once again he looks short. He's going to have to bridge over the black and take the red into the bottom corner. He knows he's got to play this shot, he's just building himself up.
30 seconds remaining.
But no positioning.
Lee Kendall, the UK number 2, and on the international rankings, also number 2. But he's just not playing to form.
A super shot, but how unlucky. He's played to cover the bag. He covers the bag, he's in control. Nothing's going right for Lee Kendall. And this will be some kind of shot.
Starting to reach a bit, Alan. But I suppose he's got to do something to try and swing the momentum back in his favor.
Be interesting to see if Daz goes all out for game, or whether he just taps the yellow into the jaw and leaves the white behind the other yellow. It will all depend on the angle he's got. He's playing the safety. And Lee has all kinds of problems. We may say Lee elect to knock the yellow ball down towards the red ball over the bottom corner. Well, he felt he could see the pot.
Again, a very adventurous attempt. Lee Kendall grasping at straws.
The Dazward wagon is on the roll. It's probably very difficult for Lee Kendall to stop them wheels.
And now a question of whether or not that black will pass. Daz is having a good look at it. Does it go to the bottom right corner as we see it?
It definitely goes into the middle bag. No doubt Daz will be thinking about the black in that position. He missed against Rob McKenna.
Well, there's the black. It passes to that corner, it looks like. But now Daz is having a look to the left center. And certainly with the angle he's got on this yellow, that's the master plan.
Super shot. Close enough to the black to make the pot not too difficult.
Well, this is missable, though. Mind you, when you're 6-1 in front. Just drops in. And a very relieved Daz Ward. And isn't he playing well? He now leads Lee Kendall by 6 frames and needs 3 more for a place in the final. It's 7-1 to the man from Sheffield.
One frame, Daz Ward to break, leading 7 frames to 1. Open table.
Very sloppy break, really, that time. One of the few that we've seen from Daz. A number of balls left in the middle of the table. And this isn't going to be an early finish.
Well, once again, Daz has been fortunate. For the first time in a lot of frames, he hasn't potted a ball for the break, but the balls aren't there for Lee Kendall. You mustn't be lethargic, Daz. Lee's not an average pop player knocking these balls about. He's a top international.
Red balls to play.
And he's left Daz the chance to knock this red ball in off the yellow on the top cushion and open the bag for the other red. And indeed, all the balls then pot.
He's played so well in the semifinal. He's done very little wrong. He's finding room where there doesn't appear to be any. Right now, Alan, that cue appears like a magic wand in his hands.
It's a little too good. I'm not certain you played to pot that one. You'd have been very pleased to lodge that one in the corner pocket. Lee Kendall's got 3 yellows which want to go in that pocket. You may see Daz pot this one and then put the red up that corner pocket. Careless.
Yellows for Lee Kendall. In a much better position than the Reds. All open. One good plant here.
He hasn't won a frame since the first frame of the session.
Yes, that's correct. But just look at the score line. 7 on the trot for Daz Ward. It's the first 1 to 10, remember. Best of 19, men's semifinal. The winner, keeping his hopes alive for the 1995 Embassy World Pool crown. Right now, the man at the table, Lee Kendall, fighting for his dream. That's a great shot. He had to force that cue ball through the red and black. Has to be considered slightly unlucky to leave himself hampered cueing over that red. But this is a good performance from Lee. All it needs is a finishing touch, and it's going to take a good black to do it. French captain Eric Lacaze, a watchful eye and offering a little commentary of his own. Well, what about that? Lee Kendall fluked the black, and what a timely fluke it was. But still, the slow walk back to his chair. He trails Daz Ward by 7 frames to 2. Now, how big is this fluke black going to be? Because you know that Lee Kendall's confidence is really waning. And that might be just the tonic that the doctor ordered.
Thanks, Brian. Lee Kendall to break. Brian 7 frames to 2.
Stoke-on-Trent's Lee Kendall striding to the table in the 10th frame. He's just had a huge fluke in the preceding flame to bring it back to 7-2.
Out.
And unfortunately for him, it's the white ball that finds the pocket off the break.
1 visit open table.
Again, I mentioned earlier about fouls. The only time in World 8-ball pool rules when you don't get 2 visits is off the break when you foul. Any other time, it would be 2 visits to your opponent, but not on this instance.
Red ball's in play.
The yellow balls looked a little more favourable in that position, but what Daz was frightened of was opening the second session with a long yellow into the corner and leave them at the mercy of Lee. He's several options from this position. He can always tuck a red over the top pocket. He doesn't have to make the clearance in one go.
And we've got a lot of future champions, I'm sure. And there's one of them. 2010 Embassy World Pool Champion.
What will we be doing then, Jim?
I don't know about you, Alan. I'll be retired on a sunny beach somewhere.
I'll still be working.
Close look from Daz Ward. 7 frames to 2. He leads this best of 19 encounter. And you know, Alan, I had a word with Lee Kendall just a few minutes ago. They just had a short interval here. There's the youngster again. A little restless. Wonder if he's a Lee Kendall fan.
He enjoyed that comment.
I was just saying that Lee Kendall knew full well the opportunity he missed in the second frame when that black eluded him. He felt as though he might well have been the one doing the steamrolling, but instead it's that man, Daz Ward, applying the punishment now.
I never realised the last red went into the corner. It was a much easier finish than we thought.
This black missable, very awkward cueing next to the side cushion. This is a big shot. And look at that.
Yellow ball high.
Well, we saw it turn around when Lee Kendall missed a black. And one can only wonder, is this going to be a turning point?
Lee will be very aware of that. He'll know that if he can make this clearance, it may be Daz who might start pondering on a missed black.
30 seconds remaining.
Black's the key ball at 8-ball pool. There's just a little bit more pressure every time a player gets down to the black. key ball here is going to be the yellow ball on the side cushion.
Absolutely vital that Lee Kendall can clear these 3 yellows, and with it the black hanging over the bottom right corner could make all the difference.
This is the ball. Good shot.
A real gutsy clearance, this one from Lee Kendall. And he's going to pull another one back in the semifinal.
Okay.
The UK number 2, starting to show a little bit of form. He still trails Daz Ward from Sheffield by 7 frames to 3. And in that instance, it's Daz Ward now with something to consider. A simple black that he missed. And we know only too well what happened when Lee Kendall missed a simple black in frame 2. Will the same befall Daz Ward?
You're watching Sky Sports 2.
Daz Ward to break, leading 8 frames to 4.
It's a real comfortable lead that the Sheffield man Daz Ward is enjoying. But he needs a ball to go in off the break, and it's not going to happen.
Open table.
An open table as he replaces his break cue. But Daz Ward now just 2 frames away from a major final. One that would be a dream for him.
8 balls in play.
If he can claw his way into tomorrow's final, certainly a lifelong goal would be at his fingertips. But still, the man from Stoke, Lee Kendall, looking to shatter those dreams. But he's really got a mountain to climb, Alan. 8 frames to 4, the deficit.
It was noticeable that we saw Lee smile for the first time in the match at the end of the last frame when he got the black. He may now feel that he's at the end of the road. He might as well attack. He's got nothing to lose. And sometimes that can work. It's Daz who looks a little bit tight. If Lee can steal this frame as he should, and then the next frame on his break, the pressure will start to pile back on the cue of Daz Ward.
I think he was in 2 different minds there. He wanted to develop the awkward red. And first and foremost, the pot went astray.
He's still in a very powerful position in this frame. He's not left Daz in a good position. Daz is deciding whether to play a safety by playing the edge of the yellow and going the other side of the table. He might try and lie behind the other yellow. He's played for the bottom of the table. And Steve Davis would have been proud of that one.
Much better read that time from Lee Kendall. Long distance potting. A couple weary heads. Still, no one's leaving their seats. I've just got a feeling that everyone is looking for a Lee Kendall fight back here. And it looks like it's starting to materialize. Position vital here on the last black.
And that looks good. He would have wanted to be a little further from the cushion, but nevertheless, he doesn't need to play with too much power. Just cue through the black.
And another one goes to Lee Kendall. Lee Kendall is really starting to look good. Obviously, a little more confident. Just stunned that red over for position almost straight into the black to the center pocket.
14th frame.
And I think Daz Ward right now,
Trailing 8 frames to 5.
a little bit to consider because Lee Kendall is going for broke.
Open table.
And the last yellow comes to a stop agonizingly close to the top pocket. How important that could be.
Yellow balls in play.
Took a more difficult yellow. But certainly, they're the balls that he wanted.
The yellow sat over the top pocket. It's a big key to this frame.
Red balls to play.
He now has control of this game. Will Lee choose to knock the red onto the yellow and give Daz an outside chance of the clearance?
Yes, when you've got pockets covered, as Daz Ward has right now with his yellow balls, Lee Kendall has to put his thinking cap on and decide how he wants to try and remove them, because remove them he has to. It's just a question of whether it's going to be now or later.
Now,
That was definitely the correct shot. The trouble is, when you're playing somebody as good as Daz Ward, you're frightened to give them 2 visits. You know they're capable of clearing up, but if Lee hadn't have played that then, within 2 or 3 more shots, he would have been out of the game. And it's Daz now who's under pressure. He'll be trying to move the 2 bad yellows and the black with this one shot. Leave the balls there for the next visit. He may fluke this one.
second visit.
Still mission accomplished. He's developed all his colors. Now, will he go for the clearance here, Alan?
I think he'll start to go for the clearance. If he gets into trouble, you may feel it. You may see him just pull out of the clearance. If he feels he can get an angle on the black ball, he'll go for the finish. He's a little tentative at the moment.
Certainly intended that yellow to drop. But regardless, he's really got that side of the table commandeered.
Lee's going to tie the black up here to his side of the table, as it were. Or he's not. That would have been the correct shot. When he looks back at that, I think Lee will be amazed he's not done that shot. It will be very difficult to clear these red balls up. Well, he's going for the gold watch. It's all or nothing for Lee Kendall here.
And it's certainly not getting easier, Alan.
Just one more good pot, though. He's made himself a chance. And what a finish this will be.
Daz Ward in jeopardy of dropping yet another frame, and he really must be feeling the heat at this moment.
It's noticeable that Lee's cueing has become more smooth over the last couple of frames. A little jerky in the early stages, but he's knocking the balls in very sweetly now. Stun out from the side cushion for the last red into the bottom corner.
Just screw back for the open black. Lee Kendall has made this look easy. And does he have a chance to come back and take this one right out of the grasp of Daz Ward? Black ball drops. Lee Kendall has taken 3 on the spin for the first time in the semifinal. He's really making a match of it. It's a best of 19 affair, and he trails Daz Ward 8 frames to 6. This last black made relatively simple because Lee Kendall controlled that white to perfection. Made an awkward run out look easy. Lee Kendall breaking off here. All or nothing now. And he's got a ball.
Yellow ball pocket.
But it doesn't appear as though he's left himself anything else easy. It's an open table for him. But he's up against it, trailing 9 frames to 6.
He has to be a little careful if he elects to knock the red ball into the middle and try and break the 2 reds open. It will be very easy to drive a red onto the yellow, and the black could go very close to the top corner pocket. I can't see him powering into there. He'll probably elect to drop the ball into the middle gently and just nudge the balls apart.
Red balls nominated. Red balls in play.
That's worked out quite well.
Well, I think he was trying to develop the more awkward red just above the yellow. That would have really opened the frame up for him.
He'll play this one off the yellow, I feel, to open that pocket. He's knocked that one safe.
And again, Linda Ledbetter, world ladies champion.
30 seconds remaining.
Yellow balls to play.
How big a shot this is. Daz will probably play the safety ball. He knows he's going to leave Lee a chance if he misses, but he'll still take the yellow up the cushion. No, he's not. He's knocking a yellow in front of the black. What a shot that is. He has one difficult ball. He needs to leave himself an angle on the yellow ball, a foot from the top of the table, to knock out the one bad yellow.
30 seconds remaining.
That one terrific shot. His girlfriend Joanne looks on. She is nervous. Affords him the opportunity to be able to try and take the frame and with it the match at this visit.
He's got the angle, Jim. This is the key. He'll be trying to catch behind the yellow. He's chosen to go the other way. And this is effectively match ball.
That's exactly what it would have been. But now, Lee Kendall still in with an opportunity.
I'm very surprised Daz went that way. I thought he would have tried to knock that yellow off. He knows how tight the pockets are. Once again, Lee's under mammoth pressure. A little fortunate there. The ball could easily have gone between the ball and the corner pocket. Just caught enough for red to spot it. Does this go, Jim?
It certainly doesn't look like it from where we're sat. And if it doesn't, Lee is either going to have to pull out a miraculous plant, or he's got to come up with an excellent containing shot. I don't fancy this, Alan.
If it doesn't go, he must ensure that he gets a red ball between the black and the corner pocket.
Foul. 2 minutes.
Not only has he not achieved that, he's played a foul. He hasn't struck a ball to a cushion. And this is a very nice opportunity for Daz with 2 visits.
Nice? That's an understatement. This looks well to be match. Just a matter of whether Daz can hold himself together now. Having a luck, he knows that black will go by the red into the corner pocket. And he still has the luxury of having his second visit at hand.
They think it's all over, Jim.
They're not alone. This is an enviable position, And what a time for it to come. A major semifinal, and almost certain for Daz Ward to go through to the Embassy World Pool 8-Ball Championship Final.
30 seconds remaining.
And just look at her. Whoops. Can't attribute that to anything more than the pressure of the moment. He overhit that by about 2 feet. Absolutely no reason.
I'm flabbergasted. Words fail me. Didn't matter if he missed the ball, as long as he left it in the jaws of the last yellow.
Seconds remaining.
Just look at Joanne. My advice? No more coffee.
Second visit.
All or nothing on this black. Don't have to tell her. Second visit in play.
I think the lid will come off if this one goes in.
I'm sure that Lee Kendall must have thought he was out of this championship. For him to come back at the table, knowing now that he should well force another frame, he's got to be on cloud 9.
Daz will never have an easier opportunity than the one he's just had.
30 seconds remaining.
Does this black ball slide past the red?
I don't think Lee thinks so. It certainly doesn't appear from that camera angle that it does. That was the reason that Lee took the awkward red, because he always had that as security in his mind.
Well, I think it will pass if he can touch the top cushion first. He's got to be very accurate. He's got to put the cushion, the
30
red ball,
seconds remaining.
back into the pocket.
For me, if he gets this, Alan, the shot of the championship.
Daz Ward must be feeling very disconsolate after that.
The simple red and the black to force a continuation. And that black goes in, and Lee Kendall stays alive. His hopes and dreams of this 1995 Embassy World Crown still within his grasp. But he still trails that man, Daz Ward, 9 frames to 7. Daz Ward requires 1 more frame. Lee Kendall, the remaining 3. And this is really developing into another epic battle, and haven't we had a few in this tournament?
17th frame, Daz Ward to break, leaving 9 frames to 7.
Daz breaks off. He had a glorious opportunity to close out Lee Kendall in the last frame, but he's got a ball, so he's got control. Now what can he make of it?
Red ball's in play.
If Lee Kendall were to win this match, his nickname could well change from the Fox to the Cat. And Daz Ward has another opportunity to seal this match.
black looks very awkwardly placed, though, Alan.
If he can put a red ball into the top corner last, he can slide along the side cushion and tap the black into the middle. This could well be the key shot. If he can drop onto the plant on the more difficult red at the top of the table, this should be match over. But after the last frame, anything is possible.
While the 25-year-old man from Stoke-on-Trent sits in his chair, while his English counterpart, the Sheffield United supporter, marches on. And he'll be leaving that red over the bottom right-hand corner, I think, last. That's the one he's going to be trying to get position on the black from, I think, Alan.
Yes, but he'd like to have been a little bit more straight on the other red. He's taking the white ball away with this shot. Good shot. And now he'll be screwing up the side cushion to ensure at least a shot at the black. He'll not be pleased with that. He may have to take the more difficult, long, straight pot.
Should really have been a lot better placed. But he's eyeing it up to the left center. It's there, Alan.
It's close.
And Daz Ward has done it. He's defeated Lee Kendall by 10 frames to 7. And what a battle it turned out to be. A happier man in this auditorium you won't be able to find. He's through now to the finals of the 1995 Embassy Whirlpool Championship.
What a fantastic performance. Now you know why he's called Dazzling Daz. Here he is. Let's bring him in now as well. Congratulations, Daz, through to the World Championship final. And you were off like a whippet out of the trap there, 7-1, but he really made you sweat after that.
Yeah, more like a donkey and not as a whippet. You know what I mean? I've gone out to interval, I've been totally relaxed. I've come back in here, all of a sudden it's a different tempo. League's finishing from like nowhere. And all of a sudden I'm against wall like this, you know what I mean? Thinking, you know what I mean? So it just fell over the line.
Been a tough draw for you though, hasn't it? You've had to beat the defending world champion and now the UK number 2.
That's a story of my life, really. Gail, easy draws. Yeah, it does, yeah, but as weeks progress, I've gradually played better and better. Hopefully I can get all my left in me, hopefully.